Hey there, welcome to this week's episode of Bloomerang TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steven, our host as always. And asking for money is hard. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. It's hard to ask for money. Sometimes it's weird. Sometimes people, they're just not comfortable doing it. And that's why I have my guest on today. She is Laura Fredricks. She is founder and CEO of The Ask. And she is an expert on asking. Laura, how's it going?
It's going very well, very, very well.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
From New York. And we met in Pittsburgh about a month ago. We were both speaking at a great event, and I was listening in on your presentation. I know I had to bounce out for the second half of it, but I was like, I need to have Laura on because she is saying things that all fundraisers need to hear about asking for money, what not to do, what to do. Laura, what's your philosophy on asking? Where did this kind of expertise come from?
Well, my mantra is ask early and often. So let me share that with you. Just to pull the string together, I practiced law for a lot of years in Philadelphia. And I was winning a lot of cases on cross-examination because it dawned on me I'm asking the right questions, right? So from there, the Bar Association asked me to head their foundation, which raises and distributes money to community legal services. So that's how I got into philanthropy. So through a series of jobs it just dawned on me, asking was easy for me because I put organization structure and focus on it.
Right.
If I had not done that, it would be a daunting task. Like, you have a group of people that have potential to help you. What do? And you just kind of dive in without putting some structure on it. So I really think my legal background helped me a lot. So that's what got me into developing the book, The Ask. And then from there, I spun off on my own, doing all consulting, and then just forming the company, The Ask, because The Ask applies to business, it applies to everyday living. And when you think about it, Stephen, every decision you make in your entire life deals with money. Whether you take the subway, whether you drive a car, where you park, do you get coffee, every decision is about money, so let's get it right.
That's right. So what's the problem? Why do people have so much trouble asking for money? Why are fundraisers, it seems like a lot of fundraisers are kind of adverse to asking for money, which sounds counterintuitive, but it's true in a lot of cases.
It is. In the old days, and the old me would have said, they're afraid to hear no. But that's part of it, it is part of it. But I've discovered most recently, the main reason is they don't know exactly what they want and why. So I just say step back. It's part of the organization is, what do you want? When? What will it do? And if you get crystal clear about that, it becomes easier. Okay? So you have to know the why behind it, the timing, and exactly what you want. And that means a numerical figure. That doesn't mean a little bit more than last year or brand new, do what you can. So that's probably the reason why they don't know the words, and the words are so powerful. What is it exactly you're going to say? So I think that prevents it. That's the first one. Second is, I see too much of this actually in business as well as philanthropy, that if we have a great personal relationship and you know everything about me, it's just going to organically happen and you don't have to ask.
Right.
We know you do. So that's the second part of it. And then the third part, which you and I will chat about, is I found that people who have a hard time with money in general make very bad askers.
That's interesting. What's the idea behind that? Even people who are really prepared and do all the things you say, even if they have that sort of trait, it's still difficult for them?
It is. It's what recently I just developed this whole money wellness program, and I thought, well, what's this about? It's that money really affects your mind, body, soul, exercise, diet, health. If you're not good about money personally, how you feel, if you don't have great values and what it can do, you're going to be a very bad asker, because you always insert yourself. Like, Steven couldn't possibly do it because I couldn't do it.
Right.
I can ask you for $500,000. I could never do it. When you think about it the other way, is you've probably made or will make in your lifetime $500,000 of investment in yourself, in your family. And so you're right there with them. So when you get money well, you will be the best asker possible.
So if you fix all these things, you get your vision.
I like your word fix. I like the fix.
And I know it's not easy, but we'll kind of zoom past it. But, you fix all those things. You've got your meeting set. You know what you want. You feel confident. is there like a formula or like some sort of mechanism that will make that ask more effective? Is there a combination of words? What are those sort of secret things that need to come out of your mouth or not come out of your mouth, I'm guessing in some cases, to make that ask really successful?
Well, there's 5 steps that can just, it mentally get you prepared. And I think asking is 90% of mentally being prepared. So the first I shared with us and your audience, know exactly what you want with numbers and dates. So Stephen, if I want to ask you for, and you know, it's a big event time coming. It's also end of year giving where 99.9% of all the people make their money. So here we go. Line it up in an ask in October, close in December. That's my tip for everybody. But know exactly what you want with numbers and dates. So if I'm talking to you now, we want to close this out by December 5th. So that's a plan. Number 2, just prepare. I have to really write down every single thing I think you're going to say to me. Everything. Not a good time, can't do it, didn't you ask for this? Just write it all down so that when you come back, I'm not shocked and I'm ready to go. Okay? 3, it's one of my favorites, is just deliver with confidence. I mean, I have to sell you, and I love that word sell, and convince you that together we're going to have this impact. And you really have to have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I've seen the ask go down because the energy goes down, the second guessing comes up. 4th part, and here's the part where people just jump over it, I have to reiterate what I think I heard. So Stephen might say to me, gosh, Laura, I got to think about it. So I'm going to run to, I asked you for too much. That's not what you said, right? So you have to explore what that means to you. Can you share with me what I have to think about is, can I help you think about it? Part of the ask is I think we make it, we feel like it's a home run, but we leave the person out there. I want to bring you back in and say, what can we work on together? And then that's how most gifts aren't closed, because we don't know how to close it. And so reiterate, I think we heard, will share with me, well, Laura, I made all my philanthropic gifts this year. Good. Can I come to you next March and we can talk about it, right? And then the 5th step is plan your next move. Do I come back to you next March, or can I come back to you to close it out this December? So there are 5 solid steps that in your mind you are so mentally prepared.
I like how you gave a couple examples of how you can turn kind of a no or even like a non-committal into something positive and a next step. You know, can you kind of pull that out a little bit? Because I feel like, you know, a fundraiser hears that no and, you know, they close their binder and the meeting's over. But what can you do rather than just kind of making that the finality of the ask?
It's a great question, and there's so much to drill down in there. You have to find out the reason behind the no. And, you know, the power of your life is questions you ask. So say, Stephen, can you share with me, be very helpful for me and my organization to know why at this time you don't want to. You've got to find out the no. It could be, I could name 1,000 things right now, but you're running off, everyone runs off to the ask amount was too high.
Right.
And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It has to do with, you know, questions you need to ask. Where are we on your philanthropic priorities? They might have said no because you're 6, 7, and 8, and you thought you were 1, 2, or 3. It could be no because their children just announced they're going to private school, or something happened to them personally, or suddenly the income they thought they had at the end of the year they don't have. They'll share it with you. They really will. But no now does not mean no later. So just say, thank you for your honesty. Can I come back to you? Can we revisit this early next year? And go from there. So the problem is most people drop it, like you say, and I like your image. Close the notebook, pick up with the next prospect. And the worst thing you can do is ask and leave. It is the worst. It does such damage to the organization.
Right.
Because you know what it meant? I didn't matter. Wasn't important.
Right. Now, you know, you kind of come from the law world and the business world, and I do too. Do you think fundraising is sales?
I think a lot of it's sales, and I think people should think of sales as a positive thing.
Yes.
Because sales learns from us and we learn from sales. Okay? Combined, if you've got the background and the skill set from both, you're explosive. Okay? Sales is, you know, people say, oh, it's pounding people with products and on and on. Well, is that any different when we go to see a prospect and all we're doing the talking for 90 minutes and giving them like a binder of information? What's the difference? Right?
Right.
Both can learn. What it is we both have to be superior listeners. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
We both are in the people business. It's about them, not about us. And we both are picking up cues and going with it. Okay? So I've hired lots of people straight out of the sales force who had the adaptability, flexibility, and creativity to learn as well as bring their skills. And I think together it's explosive. It's fabulous.
Absolutely. Well, one last question, and I'll leave you with this. Maybe you've been in this situation. I definitely have, especially in the sales world, where you're making an ask and you kind of feel like, oh, this isn't going very well. Maybe I didn't prepare as well as I thought I did. Mm-hmm. Is there any way to salvage that? Should you be open and honest and say, hey, I feel like this isn't going really well, or do you feel that? What are some of those things that you can do to maybe kind of right the ship, or at least save the relationship if you feel like the ask is not really kind of going over very well?
I've been there, and so have you, right? We've both been there. I believe honesty wins the day, and I've had a lot of situations where suddenly there are no minds drifting. I had a lot of that. And I stop and say, if this is not a good time, you just let me know, because you're more important than this conversation. Mm-hmm. Again, you've got to get into their world, right? You pounding them with the information and the delivery. And I understand, because a lot of people will go back to their offices and their boss will say, but you didn't ask, right?
Right.
But you have to say, I picked up on their cues. I wanted to, and I leave them with this. I was here to ask you for this. I sense it is not the right time. Let me come back when it is. And believe me, you're going to get more mileage out of that than anything, because you care about them. So I stop it right away. If my instincts tell me they're drifting, they don't care. I've had people pick up a cell phone and take a call.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, listen, that tells me, where are the cues? I always say this, Stephen, you know this. Donors leave clues. We miss every one of them. Well, if they pick up their cell phone, guess what? They don't know, like, and trust you enough. Yeah. And they're not educated enough. Because that's more important than this, which tells me we have to build up that trust, relationship, and education with them.
I'm glad you mentioned that pressure from above. There is a lot of pressure, I think, from managers of fundraisers to ask and generate the revenue. We kind of have a cultural problem, it seems like, where maybe these sorts of stewarding type conversations are not really kind of valued. Do you think that's true?
It varies organization to organization. Obviously we all want to raise money so that we can help all the beneficiaries. I get that. But when I manage people, I like to look at it as, what's the progress? Where have we gone? I mean, these little pieces of information are so telling about the donors we have. They will stay with you for a lifetime if you get in sync with them. And sometimes that just got to be more important than, did you bring the six-figure gift home, or is it about to be lined up in the queue? And if you're not, but the reverse side is, you can't have people that always use that as an excuse.
True.
And as a good manager, you'll be able to tell the difference. But there is a lot of pressure out there to do it. I don't like to ask someone prematurely, because there is the right time to ask, and your instincts will tell you. But you're right, there's a lot of pressure. There is. It's reality.
Well, Laura, this is awesome. This is great advice. I want people to follow you, check out your book. Where can people learn more about you?
Very, very simple. Just go to expertontheask.com, EXPERT, to which we all are, ONTATASK. Please follow me on Twitter, Expert on the Ask, because I give lots of links, lots of tips. My website is jam-packed with information. And also, just check out, I started a brand new money wellness program. It taught me a lot. It's 30 days to remove your money blockers so you can go forward and be the best asker you can.
Very cool. And if you see Laura's name on a conference agenda, you need to go to that session. Don't go to the other ones if you have a few choices.
Ditto for you too.
Well, thanks, Laura. This was awesome. We'll have to have you back for another chat. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening along today. We'll catch you next week with another great episode. We'll talk to you then.
Thanks, Stephen.
Bye.
Bye-bye.